As I said, introducing Patrick, the only uncharted person, totally uncharted portion of the universe is the brain. You know, I had, as we used to say in the Senate, excuse the point of personal privilege here. I had 2 cranial aneurysms. And they literally had to take the top of my head off. I mean, they take a saw and they cut your head off and go in to find the artery that is, one was leaking, the other that hadn't before it burst. There's this, those of your docs know there's every profession has their sick jokes. The joke among docs is, how do you know someone's had an cranial aneurysm? On the autopsy table. Only 20% of the people have it even get to the table. Well, one of the fascinating things is, the second operation, after the first one, which was a bleed, and they gave me a relatively low chance of surviving, I remember going down to the doc, asking the doc, and you know, you're counting the ceiling tiles, and you're heading into the operating room. A lot of you have been there. And I said, Doc, what are my chances? I had 2 great neurosurgeons. And I'll never forget, I will not mention his name, he's one of the leading neurosurgeons in the world. He said, Senator, for mortality or morbidity? And I'm thinking, I swear to God. I'm thinking, oh, geez, you know, well, I said, let me put it this way. It was a long road to the operating room. I said, it's an absolutely true story. I said, what are my chances of getting off this table and being completely normal? He said, well, your chances of living are a lot better. And I said, okay, what are they? He said, well, they're in the 35 to 50% range. And I thought, well, seriously, I was a born optimist. I said, well, hell, that means 35 out of 100, 50 out of 100 make it. I might as well be the one. I said, what's the most likely thing that will happen if I live? But what? He said, well, the side of the brain that the first aneurysm is on controls your ability to speak. And I thought, why in the hell didn't they tell me this before the '88 campaign? It could have saved us all a lot of trouble, you know what I mean? Now I'm going down the second operation, 4 months later, and because it's on the other side of my head. And this is not about me, but it's about the truth. They put together the same crews. You know, they always want the same anesthesiologist, the same team if they've done an operation on you. And so there was a great guy named Dr. Hart, military. He had been transferred from Reed down to Texas. And they brought him back, and he's the anesthesiologist, and I'm going down. Now, this operation I had a 98% chance because it hadn't bled at all. They told me this was going to be. And so trying to make me feel better, the doc, kidding the neurosurgeon, looked at me and looked down at me and said, Senator, do you know why neurosurgeons have the biggest egos in medicine? I said, no, I don't know. He said, who in the hell else would go into the brain with such confidence knowing as little as they know about it? And I thought about that for a second and decided to stop thinking about it. But all kidding aside, there's so much we don't know. So much we don't know. And Patrick Kennedy and I believe the same way. The possibilities are immense. We don't know what they are. They're immense. And that's why the president has asked for $100 million to launch a new initiative to map the human brain. Truly the last frontier. And the prospects are overwhelming to the very thing we're most concerned about mental health.